We always begin things by acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands that we are on. We also acknowledge our ancestors. We acknowledge all those who toiled without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all the elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So please do us the honors by introducing yourself to our listeners and viewers and tell us about your remarkable work.
Mad, again, thank you for inviting me today. I feel extremely honored to share with you and with the audience and your partners a little bit more about my current work and my former work, but especially my passion to equitable economic and community development. Very, very excited to continue to build community, alliances, and trusted-based collaborations with other agents of change that are part of the Setsi ecosystem. My name is Carlos Delgado. I use he, him, el pronouns. Born in Ecuador, but I have been so fortunate to have lived and worked in several cities who has allowed me to meet and collaborate with so many inspiring individuals. I am currently part of Clear Impact, which is a performance reporting and impact measurement software solutions provider, leading the company's partnership and strategic alliances. And I am also working with the Lincoln Institute of Land Policy as a community development advisor on their Legacy Cities Community of Practice program. But before I elaborate what I do with what we do at Clear Impact and our contributions to the social and impact sector, I wanted to share how Victor and I met. That was the fall of 2021, and I have just returned back to Canada after years in Washington, D.C., where I decided to take a leap of faith after working in the Greater Toronto Area economic development space to run technical assistance, capacity building, advisory services programs, working with local governments in the US to advance racial equity as the lens and as at the forefront of economic, workforce, and community development. This was a program run in partnership with the National League of Cities, the Urban Land Institute, and Policy Link. And because of that connection with Policy Link, I had just spoken with Mike Joyce, which is the ED of the Canadian CED network. And among other things, we discussed what was Policy Link's National Equity Atlas and how transformational a tool like this would have to have it here in Canada. He mentioned that I should talk to Victor from Setsi, who was convening stakeholders, organizations, and individuals around disaggregated data in Canada and the relationship between organization-level results and population-level change. So Victor and I connected it, and here we are having this conversation today. So by then, I was 2 months into my role with Clear Impact, and if the audience do not know, we have been a long time and trusted partner of mission-driven institutions, organizations, including nonprofits, social purpose organizations, government, philanthropy, and we provide 2 separate but complementary services. One is training, facilitation, and teaching of a methodology, a framework, a way of thinking called results-based accountability, also known as outcome-based accountability, helps organizations to be intentional and data-driven when it comes to show impact and show results. And the other is through our performance reporting and impact measurement solutions, which have been tailored to the needs of the nonprofit and the social sector at large.
Amazing. I love that story of, how you and Victor, so that's amazing. And that's what it's really about, when you have like-minded people on that same frequency, it's bound to happen. It's bound to come together and collaborate and, do the work that needs to be done. So that's awesome. Thank you. And can you articulate your personal mission and vision for us?
Yes, that is a great question, and I will answer this with what inspires me to do this work. And the inspiration I get is from all the organizations and individuals that I I'm grateful to have met and that I continue to meet who are fighting the good fight. After each meeting, I take my time to digest what it has been discussed. And to be completely frank, in many cases, I do not have the answer or the solutions to the needs of these organizations and or to these folks that I met. But this is when I truly believe that the power of community, allyship, and trusted partnership flourishes. I do believe that is the right thing, that is the right thing to do, to connect or guide them if I know of someone to where opportunities are. I'm an advocate and a believer of sincere, transparent collaboration. I briefly mentioned that I have been blessed to have lived and worked in different cities and countries. So I embrace my global citizen persona. Not sure if that is a word or I have just made that up, but this persona has cultivated a drive to search for best practices and solutions to tackle pressing economic and social challenges. You name housing, transportation, health, access to quality jobs. This is to say that I know firsthand how critical and cross-sectorial the work of social mission-driven sector and organizations is. But I also know that we often do not have the right tools or systems or infrastructure to effectively collaborate with internal and external stakeholders. I know that incredible efforts are in place right now, and incredible efforts have been in place in the past, but we must ensure that actions are appropriate in the first place, meaning that we are doing the right things needed to achieve those desired outcomes. If we choose the wrong strategies, it won't matter if we implement them well. If we find that we are doing the right things, I believe that we must continually improve the quality of how we implement those actions. In simple words, I guess, it is not enough to do the right things. We must also do them well. And that is what fuels my commitment to continue to partner with social mission-driven organizations and help them achieve the result they seek. When I mentioned that one of the services that we provide is teaching or advising in how to personalize results-based accountability. In RBA, we have a concept called shared accountability. And this concept means that no single person, agency, or organization can be held responsible for creating population-level change. For example, if a city or a municipality or a provincial health agency or a health agency shouldn't be held solely responsible for improving health outcomes. And you may ask why. Let's take, for instance, the opioid epidemic. Opioid addiction is a health issue that we all agree local, provincial, national health agencies should tackle. But we all know that the epidemic transcends what government alone can do. Over prescribing, economic and racial inequities, irresponsible pharmaceutical practices are just a few factors underlying this crisis. So that means that healthcare systems, insurance companies, economic development agents of change, regulatory and policy-making bodies, political actors share accountability in fixing this problem. So imagine a transparent, easy-to-use system that allows for all these responsible actors or groups to collaborate and report on how they are contributing to tackle this issue. So that's how our solution, Clear Impact Suite, allows for these agents of change to intentionally tackle and work together to solve this issue. So Suite is an easy-to-use web-based software platform that simplifies the data collection, standardized reporting, and measure progress, and helps you identify what are those critical factors that you would need to be focusing on. It's a combination of two tools, a scorecard and the complementary product compile. Scorecard is our data visualization tool that allows you for you to not only measure, evaluate, monitor, and report on population indicators, but then also organizational performance measures and program level metrics, and identify and document what are the root causes for the data to be trending in the way it is, and compile is our case management and data building tool. So if I think about how all these aligns with what the social purpose organizations are working towards, I feel energized to connect with them and try to come up with jointly efforts to improve the conditions of well-being of those shortchanged and marginalized communities.
Wow, there's so much to unpack there. That's amazing. This, especially again, holding them accountable. So, these groups that would come together, whether they're in the government or what have you, and having these things like the scorecards, and that's something that Setsi we talk about as well. Yeah. And these key elements is something to hold that accountability of these to eradicate these issues, like you had brought up about the opioid epidemic, right? So, wow, very, very powerful tool that you have, and it's so important and needed in this day and time. So we appreciate that. And okay, so you I think you touched on the inspiration. So let's go to challenges and barriers. What challenges and barriers do you face in your current work, and how are you and your team working to overcome them?
We at Clear Impact, we are a small but very collaborative, innovative, and mighty team. And the hat that I wear is to communicate back to my team the feedback and what we are hearing in the meetings that I am having with those social purpose organizations. So for me, feedback is critical. Trying hard to always put partners first. So in my continuous effort to be of service of these organizations, I keep hearing the challenges around how do we align all these different contributions when we are working in partnership related efforts. You and I, Matt, know that collaboration is essential to solve for these social and economic challenges, but it is not an end in itself. You must have multiple, diverse, cross-sectorial partners who want to make an impact, but that doesn't mean that they are working together effectively. I am a football, soccer fan, so many times the team that you support have all these different stars and the best players in the world. But if they don't have a good coach, or they don't play in tune, or they don't collaborate, they may not win titles. So partnerships are meant to work in alignment in order to make measurable progress on community outcomes. If you ask me what alignment means for Carlos, I would say that alignment to me means that partners share a common purpose, and that common purpose can be also called the result or their North Star. So I believe that after efforts and a common and the common purpose has been aligned, the missing piece that you mentioned also in your comments around shared accountability is how do we know if our strategies and plans are working well together? So this is where the usefulness and the power of having a unified data management system comes in. Talking about challenges, some of the misconception about operationalizing tools like this is that 1, it is expensive. 2, it's so hard to use for small nonprofits or for social purpose organizations. It's so time consuming to set up. It creates burdensome on grantees or community partners to collect data. Selecting performance measures or indicators is difficult, and we don't have the data ready and easy available. So I am working tirelessly to show the effectiveness to these organizations that are thinking that way, that how these systems can really, really transform how partner-related effort works, allowing them to quickly and easily input data, manage qualitative and quantitative data. So the narrative, the story behind the curve, and what the data is telling you in terms of metrics. Separate program level and population level indicators. And how do you share this data or these results or this impact with not only your internal, but also external stakeholders? So creating transparency around the work that you are doing and helping you customize how you collect and organize all of that data. So I am truly committed and working tirelessly to becoming the impact measurement partner in crime or the impact measurement ally, making our solutions available to any organization that would like to try. So if you would like to try it out, there is a free version of it that do not end after a certain time. You can have it indefinitely. The other challenge that I see, and this is not a social purpose organization challenge, but in many cases it's a funder challenge, is that they are tracking many things, 100 KPIs or more. You don't need to be measuring this to know if your programs, if your policies, or if your projects are working well, and if they are having the impact that you intend to have. So I would, emphasize the notion that less is better. And I'll share just a quick story of a work that I was doing when I was in the US, doing work and in many of those places. We were working with an organization that was funding after school programs, and they were so fixated with the grantee that was collecting this data around attendance rate. So fixated on that number. That didn't tell the entire story. And if we didn't know the background, and if we were not be connecting with those community-based organizations of these 3 neighborhoods, low income, where Black and brown folks lived, this funder would have defunded those programs, creating a lot of challenges and extra challenges in those areas. So the opportunity to not only see the quantitative way of the data, but also the qualitative aspect of it. So taking into account that the data, it is important. It is also the analysis and identifying what are the root causes and the positive and negative factors for the data to be looking in that way.
Wow, that's great. And, for the smaller, like you said, it can be a barrier, not for the smaller organizations to be able to afford this software, but we really appreciate that you have the free version and we appreciate what you're doing. You're really going through the grind, trying to make it accessible to all forms, all sizes, because that's what it's going to boil down to at this point in time, the importance of data, and to really get to the conclusion and get to the solution to issues. And people like you will make it possible for all sizes. So we appreciate that so much. And so would you say, your key priority? What would you say if you were to narrow down and focus, what would be the key priority in your work?
Thank you. I will name a few because, as I mentioned, we are small, mighty, but very responsive team. So this is what we have been hearing from the sector. So one priority that I am really interested in continue to work this year and 2025 is our partnership with a common approach to impact measurement. We are one of the aligned software partners, and this relationship with them have allowed me and us to meet many several purpose organizations and understand their measurement pinpoints. So truly making us think, how can we customize our solution, a scorecard, to be aligned with a common impact data standard, which will allow us to provide these solutions to social purpose organizations, intermediaries, and the wholesalers that will be part of the social finance fund initiative. So that's one initiative that I am really or a priority that I am really keen on continuing to work on. We have just signed 3 big contracts, 2 with US federal government agencies, and the other one is to expand our collaboration with the USA Department of Education. The Center for Disease Control, CDC, wants that all 3,400 state, tribal, local, and territorial health agencies report on 10 common metrics related to their data readiness using our system. The second federal government agency is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Agency. They're piloting in 10 states an initiative with their mental health partners, providers, to do reporting in Clear Impact Suite as a one unified data system. It's a 3.5 years initial contract. And the Department of Education, they have been a partner of ours for a few years now, but they have decided to expand to additional place-based areas. And as part of their place-based initiative, including the Promised Neighborhood and the full service community schools, they are going to be aligned a set of common and localized measures where all the different partners will be able to report and to share accountability on what the contributions are in the result that the EOE and their place-based initiatives are seeking. How Victor and I met was because of our conversation and interested in developing the National Equity Atlas that it's a flagship initiative of PolicyLink. So we have been a partner of them for many years. We offer free access to the National Equity Atlas scorecards. So if you sign in today to our system, you can download 750 geographies with 9 common indicators. So we will continue to be offering this to our partners or to any interested organization that is looking to utilize these 9 common indicators. And that is a call to action if there are organizations that would like to explore how do we create a Canadian Equity Atlas and how do we make these scorecards of these geographies. I'll be happy to meet and to strategize on that. We are also launching a podcast. So we're going to be inviting partners of ours or community leaders. So Matt, I will extend that to you, where we are going to be touching on how do we improve our relationship with data, how do we accept and learn from failure, how we humanize data. So a lot of topics that we'll be exploring in this podcast in 2024. And we're also launching what we're calling our Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Accessibility series. These would be roundtables with some of our partners that are interested to highlight with a larger field what their own DEIA journey is and how they're working towards becoming a anti-racist organization. So those are a few of the initiatives that me and my team will be working in 2024 and 2025. So if you see any opportunities to collaborate, I am always open.
Oh, for sure. I accept that invite for sure. That's it's imperative, you know. Absolutely, yeah. Wow. This is you know, it's like it's life-changing in that aspect, because you know, like we said, the aggregated data is so key and pivotal to make changes that we want to see, right? So yeah, amazing. And what would you say, you know, might be a little redundant, but what would you say is your ultimate goal, and what does success look like to you?
Means a few things. One is to successfully launching and implementing and executing on the initiatives that I just shared. Those 3 big federal government initiatives are key to truly provide network-based solutions Success also to me means to continuously act and actively listen to what our partners and the sector is telling us, what their pinpoints are, and communicate that to my team. So be responsive and be present. Larger picture, if I want to dream big, I would love to see funders. It can be a philanthropic organization or a corporation that has a grant making arm, governments that provide TA and grants to offer grantees, and the community-based organizations that they work with long-term investment commitments. That allows these organizations to focus on what matters to them the most, which is their mission, and to being able to breathe and not be running around trying to apply for funding every year after year, creating uncertainty and anxiety in terms of long-term planning. Tying to that, the option for impact measurement and data management tool solutions. You have no idea how many organizations I have met that do not have the infrastructure and they don't have the budget for these tools to exist. So I am not saying that that these tools have to be imposed, but they have to be offered. We all know that backbone support organizations held, or especially funders hold a great power. This power, I believe, has to shift to transparently, sincerely work with their local partners to help them reach their destinies and to achieve their goals, and not creating additional reporting burdens. So, believing that with providing any type of impact measurement solution, can be ours or others, they are building the capacity of a smaller grassroots organizations that they may not have the budget, may not have the capacity and the infrastructure to license or to acquire data collection and reporting software independently. So how can all of these actors working hard to improve conditions of well-being align all of their efforts together, including private sector organizations that are providing the tools for these actors to do a better work?
So any philanthropic organizations out there, we'll put that beacon out,
They should talk to me.
That's right. So I think the last question is your closing thoughts and calls to action at this time.
Matt, I just want to share again how grateful and thankful I am and we are to be part of this community. The work that you and your partners are doing is just remarkable, and if there is other ways or different ways that I and us could support that, please feel free to reach out and to let us know how. As I mentioned, we are really committed to make this tools and work towards dismantling the misconception that software is expensive and it is not easy to use. You can sign in for free to use our tools, both of them, the data visualization with the reporting capability and also the data collection tool. So how can you organize all of your different partners and individuals that are receiving your services? So you can sign in, you can reach out to me, and I can guide them. My email is carlos@clearimpact.com. Let's meet and discuss your impact measurement needs. And again, if there is organizations, I will follow up with you and Victor on this idea of developing the Canadian Equity Atlas. That would be an impactful tool to have and a reporting card on racial and economic equity here in Canada. But just thanking you again for the invitation, for this conversation, and the inspiring work that you and Setsi ecosystem partners have done and will continue to do.
Well, the pleasure is ours as well. It's likewise both sides, and I know this won't be the last. We will definitely do some collaboration work, because it's all about, I always say it almost in like all of my interviews, it's always about these puzzle pieces. You need every single piece to complete the
Right.
puzzle, right? So no matter how big, how small, your impact is necessary and it's needed to get to the common goal of this. So on behalf of Setsi, I really want to appreciate you, Carlos, for all that you're doing. You're such a remarkable leader, and much more success for you to come in the future. And again, we thank you for participating in this session. Okay, so we will close the way that we began, by acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands that we are on. We also acknowledge our ancestors. We acknowledge all those who toil without compassion or compensation. We acknowledge all the elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we stand on as we build, share, learn together for our collective liberation and sovereignty. So Carlos, once again, we appreciate you so much. You have a wonderful rest of the day, and we look forward to collaborating with you very soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.